All right, hello everyone. Second video on area. We're moving into the area of trapezoids. I'm not sure why it says it parallelograms at top. Make sure on this page, I don't know if it's just my notes or if, but I had this, this extra page here, which we're not going to go over right now. So if that was the next page in your progression from the area of triangles and stuff, skip that one. We're here, and this will be your 8.5A, 8.8A assignments. And while I'm writing that, that does not seem correct. Let me double check. Chapter resources. 8.6, I forgot, we skipped 8.5 in our book. So this is actually 8.6A, 8.8A. Again, 8.6 is just find the area of the trapezoid. 8.8 is working backwards, which will actually be a little bit more complicated with trapezoids, as we'll see. So a reminder from chapter 6, trapezoid has two bases that are different lengths. So it's not as simple as base times height, although you're going to see kind of that similarity here. The other thing, again, is that your height needs to be the direct distance straight up and down. And so these angled sides that you see here, if they have a number there, that's just trying to throw you off. It's not a height in that case. Area formula, and I had a better activity way to do this, but with what we have, I'm just giving it to you. Area formula of a trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. So you add the bases together and then multiply it by 1/2 and then multiply by the height. Again, 8.6, just straightforward, find the area. Order of operations will be the biggest thing here. So make sure you are putting the bases inside parentheses, because order of operations wise, you need to add those first before you multiply anything. Okay, so it would become 1/2 times 13 times 5, which off the top of my head, I do not know what that is. My calculator helps me. You get 32.5 inches squared. Okay. Second example, again, 1/2 times the bases added together, so 10 plus 16. I'm putting that in parentheses so that we remember that you add those first. Oops, that's a 14 and a 4. A reminder that your height, in this case, this height or this side is not slanted or diagonal. So this is our height. That 90-degree mark in there kind of gives you that hint. Okay. Get 1/2 times 26 times 14. And then again, you can multiply in any order. So if I just cut the 26 in half, 13 times 14 is 102 feet squared. Okay. Now working backwards, again, this will actually be a little bit more complicated than it was with parallelograms and triangles. And so again, I'm going to ask to see your work here. All right. So you get area equals 1/2 times, and in this case, I don't know one of my base lengths, and so it's just x plus 20 times 8. Okay. Now you have to be really careful here. There's nothing you can do with the x plus 20. You can't make that 20x. You can't do anything with that. But what you can do is you can multiply the 1/2 and the 8, even though they don't look like they're next to each other. Remember, with multiplication, 2 times 3 times 4 is the same as 4 times 2 times 3. You can multiply in whatever order you want. And so, I should have plugged in. I'll just plug it in now. But so the area is 90. 1/2 times 8 is 4. And so I'm going to rewrite that as 90 equals 4 times x plus 20. Then you distribute, you get 4x plus 80. Subtract 80 on both sides. You get 10 equals 4x. Divide by 4. And you get x equals 2.5. Our label is centimeters as your answer. Okay. So the big thing that, to just make sure you see what happened there, is to get that 4, we multiplied the 1/2 and the 8 together. Even though they weren't next to each other, you can kind of rearrange them and actually multiply them together. Then I distributed the 4 into the parentheses. And from there now it's a two-step equation. Subtract 80, divide by 4. You get 2.5 centimeters for the length of the top base. Okay. Let's look at our second example here. And then, whoops, I'll have one more video for you on circles, and that will be it. This time we don't know the height. Okay, so a little bit different. We don't know the height, but we know both the bases. So I have 132 equals 1/2 times 7 plus 17 times, and we'll just call that x. You can use an h if you want, whatever makes more sense to you. Okay. Now I'm going to do this one a little bit differently because I'm given and I'm looking for different information than the first one. And so when you're looking at your homework, you're going to have to kind of figure out between those two on how you're going to solve this. In this case, I can simplify the 7 plus 17, so I'm going to do that. And then 1/2 times 24 gives me 12. And so the solving in this case is actually a little bit easier in my opinion, because you can just add those together, then you can then multiply the 1/2, and then it just becomes, you don't have to distribute or anything like that. It just becomes a one-step equation. And so you get 11 meters as your answer. Okay, good. Don't forget your labels here. But those are kind of the two types of questions for 8.8, where you're asked to work backwards. Those are the two types of equations that you will see there. Okay, and I'm going to stop this video and make the last one, just so you kind of break this down by assignment. But like I had said, this video is just for the assignment titled 8.6a/8.8a. Okay, so I would do that homework assignment now and then watch the third video after you have that completed.